प्रातः स्मरामि हृदि संस्फुरदात्मतत्त्वम् सच्चित् सुखं परमहं सगतिं तुरीयम् यत् स्वप्नजागर सुषुप्तिमवैति नित्यम् तद्ब्रह्म निष्कलमहं न च भूतसङ्गः तपोभिक्षीणपापानां शान्तानां वीतरागिणाम् मुमुक्षूणामपेक्षोऽयम् आत्मबोधो विधीयते बोधोऽन्यसाधनेभ्यो हि साक्षान्मोक्षैकसाधनम् पाकस्य वह्निवज्ञानम् विना मोक्षो न सिद्ध्यति. Hari Om. Welcome back to Gems of Bhagavad Gita. We will continue from where we left off in the middle of our discussion of the qualities of a divine person, the qualities of a Daiva. Dev kaun hai? Who is a Daiva? The exhaustive description, the exhaustive indication of who is a Daiva. If you have these 26 qualities, or the extent to which you have these qualities, to that extent you are a Deva. Contrary to that is an Asura. Contrary to that is a demon. So are you divine or are you demonic? Such bolo to everyone is in the middle. We're all in the middle. We're all somewhere, a work in progress. And the whole idea of these classes, the whole idea of these discussions is to give you and me the inspiration. First of all, to give you and me the knowledge of what is divine and what is demonic. And thereafter, to give you and me the inspiration to try to emulate, try to gain some of these qualities, some of these virtues. So we'll continue with where we left off in verse number 2. हम धीरे जा रहे हैं, but there's a reason for that. We are taking one by one the qualities. So we discussed these several qualities yesterday: harmlessness, truth, absence of anger, renunciation, peace, absence of calumny, compassion for beings. हमने इन 6 गुणों पे चर्चा की थी, 7 गुणों पे चर्चा की थी. अहिंसा, सत्य, अक्रोध, त्याग, शांति, निंदा न करना, सब जीवों से दया. इन 7 गुणों पे हमने चर्चा की थी. So we'll continue from the 8th quality in this verse. पहले श्लोक में 9 गुण बताए गए थे, इस श्लोक में 11 गुण बताए गए हैं. In total 20. So we have completed 9 plus 7 out here, 16. We'll take up the 17th quality, uncovetousness. लिप्त न होना. लिप्त न होना मतलब दूसरों के अर्थ से, दूसरे लोग जो धन और भोग को जो भोग रहे हैं उसकी इच्छा करना. Uncovetousness, लिप्त न होना, means to crave for other people's wealth. When you look at someone else possessing something and enjoying something, within you very often arises a desire, hi, mere paas bhi ye agar hota to, if I also had that. Most of our desires, a lot of our desires are actually determined by what we see others possessing, others having. When we see others enjoying something, we want it too. That is being covetous, wanting to possess what others possess, wanting to enjoy what others enjoy. A deva is one who is uncovetous, one who dismisses these thoughts. He's not concerned with what others have, but what others possess. He's on his own journey. This is a very important quality. In the Ishavasya Upanishad, verse number 1. Om Ishavasya Midagu Sarvam Yat Kincha Jagatyam Jagat Tena Tyaktena Bhunjitha Ma Gridha Kasya Swiddhanam. Magridha, do not covet, do not crave. Kasyasvit, others. Dhanam, wealth. Do not covet others' wealth. Very famous verse in the Ishavasya Upanishad. Do not covet others' wealth. In the first verse, generally in an Upanishad, it starts from the highest knowledge and then becomes an explanation. You see this pattern in all Upanishads, in many Upanishads. It starts with the highest knowledge, and then slowly, it goes into explanation mode for those who haven't understood. So this verse, this message is in the first verse itself. What does it mean? This is one of the highest knowledges. This is one of the most essential pieces of knowledge. Do not covet any other person's wealth. Stop comparing yourself with what others have. Stop measuring yourself with what others possess and enjoy and others have achieved. Stop it. You are on your own journey. They are on theirs. They are enjoying what they are enjoying because of their karmas. Why are you getting entangled in it? Why are you getting unnecessarily entangled in it? Be concerned with your own journey. Deserve, not desire. Be concerned with your own journey. Deserve, not desire. Do your obligatory functions to the best of your ability. That is alone what you have to be concerned with. Whatever roles and responsibilities you have to play in life, do that to the best of your ability, and you will be rewarded. Stop. See, the point is, जब हम दूसरे के बारे में सोचते हैं, it takes up more of our headspace than we imagine, and it causes more modifications, more emotions than we imagine. All of our envy, jealousy, lust, craving, half of our desires, half of the mess we have in our head is created because we're constantly looking at others and what others enjoy, what others have possessed. It's a bottomless pit. It's a bottomless pit. So this is a very clear message from the Lord. Don't do that. This is a quality of a daiva, uncovetousness, one who is not affected, is not influenced by what others are possessing and enjoying. It's very see, one way to test yourself, whether you're uncovetous, is whether you can be happy in others' success. One way to test yourself whether you're truly uncovetous is whether you can be happy in others' success. Generally, when others are successful or when others get called, are given praise and are given fame and name, what is the feeling that arises in you? Is it one of jealousy? Is it one of ichha? Hai, mere saath bhi agar ye hota to. Or can you truly just be happy for them? Can you truly just be happy for what they are achieving, what they are doing, how far they are getting? If you have a lot of unfulfilled desires in you, you cannot be uncovetous. If you have a lot of unfulfilled desires in you, you will always be in that place of dissatisfaction. You'll not be able to be happy for others. You'll not be able to be happy for others. So this is one way to measure yourself and ultimately understand you are on your own journey. Do your obligations to your best of your ability. Play your part to the best of your ability. And you will be rewarded with much more than you can ever imagine. That's the message. Gentleness. Komala. See, all of these qualities are related to the quantum of desires you possess. If you have a lot of unfulfilled desires, you're naturally going to tend to be asuric. A deva is one who has conquered his mind. A deva is one who has, to a large extent, gained control and regulated his desires. So gentleness, coming to gentleness, because you'll see this thread, this common thread through all these qualities. Komala, gentleness. Soft. A daiva is soft. He's gentle. Have you ever plucked a flower from a tree, or even maybe broken a branch that needs to be broken? Suppose there's an old branch that is dying, and you have to prune it, you have to remove it. Some people just pluck a flower like this, and it goes and damages the tree. It goes and damages the tree. It causes, um, you know, some amount of the stem is peeled. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. Or they have to break a branch and they pull it out. So there is a technique by which you have to break a branch so that you don't harm the rest of the tree. There is a technique by which you have to pluck a flower so that you don't harm that area of the plant. And that requires your conscious attention. So to be gentle requires conscious attention. If you are impulsive and rash about it, if you're not conscious, you'll be impulsive and rash about it. So how do you live life in a gentle manner? How do you live life in a gentle manner? Conscious of your impact and your effect on others. Even if you're saying something, how to say it gently. Even if you're conveying something, how to do it gently, with a thought, sparing a thought for others. Sparing a thought for others. It's a beautiful quality. It's a beautiful quality. It is perhaps the greatest indication of bhakti. The greatest indication of bhakti, when you have a sense of kindness for others. A sense of kindness for others. This is not a weakness. This is not a weakness. Remember, in the previous verse, we said, Arjavam, you have to be straightforward and gentle. How do you combine the two? Sometimes, if you're only straightforward without being gentle, it's very hurtful. How do you be straightforward in life and be gentle to the other person? How do you provide a sense of reassurance, but also ensure someone's growth? So that, as opposed to kathorta, as opposed to not having even a sense of how the other person is feeling. How the other person is feeling. So this is not only to do with people, as I said, even how you treat plants and animals around you. Are you gentle? It is an indication of your level of consciousness. How conscious are you? How conscious are you about the existence and the needs of others? If you are, then automatically you'll be gentle. If you are empathetic, you will be gentle. If you are able to feel what they feel, if you're able to put yourself in other shoes, you don't want to be harsh to yourself. You don't want to be harsh to yourself. You don't want anyone to be harsh to you. So what stops you from being gentle to others? Ask yourself that. Sushil, modest. Someone who is modest, a daiva, an evolved person, a person on the spiritual path, lives modestly. Modesty means living within your means. Modesty means not wanting to appear greater than what you are. Modesty is not a quantum. People think modesty is a quantum. People think to be modest, you have to live under a certain budget. If you're living above a certain budget, that means you're not modest. That's not the case. If you're earning 1 lakh rupees and you're living within 50,000 rupees, you're modest. If you're earning 10 lakh rupees and living within 7 lakh rupees, 6 lakh rupees, you're modest. If you're earning 1 crore rupees and living within 50 lakhs, you're modest. Living within your means, it's a skill. If you're earning 10,000 rupees and living at 50,000 rupees, you're not modest. So what makes us live beyond our means? What makes us go beyond our means? It's very often a desire to appear more than what we are. A desire to appear more than what we are. That's what determines whether it's not what you possess that makes you modest or not. It's not the quantum you possess that makes you modest or not. But are you wanting to show something to the world more than what you are? Are you wanting to show to the world more than what you are? A person on the spiritual path doesn't have this weakness. His modesty springs from his ability to not want to prove anything to the world, not want to show anything to the world, wanting to appear more materially, physically, intellectually also, wanting to appear to know more than you actually know. It's immodest. Arrogance is the height of immodesty. Arrogance is the height of immodesty. So modesty is not only at the material level, it can be at the physical level also, at the emotional and the intellectual level also. Wanting to appear to know more than you actually are. Wanting to appear to care more than you actually care. When you pretend to be also concerned, that's immodest. Being straightforward and being not wanting to show a false sense of affection. Modesty. Again, link it to the opposite. The immodesty means wanting to appear more than you are. And it springs from a weakness of what others think of you. That's the root. ये root cause analysis करना जरूरी है. What is the root of immodesty? It's a weakness of what others think of you, how others perceive you, how you are appearing to the world at large. The spiritual person is concerned more with who he is, what he is, than how he appears. A spiritual person is concerned with who he is, what he is, not how he appears, what he comes out as to people. He focuses on his qualities. Okay. Chichorepan se rahit, absence of chichorapan, fickleness. Someone who is steady on the path, not one who keeps changing his mind, not one who keeps changing his mind. Just 1 second. Absence of fickleness. Fickleness is the tendency of the mind to hop around, to be uncommitted, to be impulsive, to be rash, to be reckless. A fickle mind cannot stick to any commitments. A fickle mind cannot follow up on any goal or responsibility on the spiritual path. A spiritual person is one who is committed to his goal. So he doesn't simply do something today because he feels like doing it, and tomorrow doesn't follow up on the activity because he doesn't feel like doing it. Fickleness is complete impulsiveness, completely following the mind's whims and fancies. So absence of fickleness. And we'll continue with verse number 3. More qualities. 6 more qualities of a divine person are discussed in this verse, which we will take up now. Verse number 3. Teja kshama dhriti shaucham adroho nati manita bhavanti sampadam daivim abhijatasya bharata teja kshama dhriti shaucham adroho nati manita bhavanti sampadam daivim abhijatasya bharata. तेजः, क्षमा, धृति, शौचम, शत्रुता का अभाव, अभिमान न होना, 6 और गुण बताए हैं। हे भारत, दैवी संपदा को प्राप्त हुए कि ये लक्षण है: spiritual luster, forgiveness, steadfastness, purity, absence of malice, absence of much pride. All of these qualities, O Bharata, belong to one who is born of the divine state. So here he finally says, what is all these qualities? All of these qualities are of a person who belongs to the divine state, one who is a Devi, one who is a Deva, what we have been saying for the last 2-3 days. These are the qualities of a Deva. So these are the 26 qualities. We've covered 20 qualities. The final 6 qualities is what we will discuss in this particular verse. Spiritual luster, tejas. When you're on the spiritual path, you express, you exude a very positive energy. A very positive energy. This is not something you can explain. This is something you have to experience. If you've been around, or rather, the more you are around spiritually oriented people who are unselfish, who are able to identify, who have clarity of thought, who have a firm goal, all of these qualities. When you have all of these qualities, you express a certain energy, a vibe, a luster. It's called tejas. People are attracted to that. Someone who can light up the room with his positive energy. Someone who can lift the spirits of people. Someone who can guide and reassure others. So physically, emotionally, intellectually, someone who adds a positive energy to the environment. And that people around him can only express. That people around him can only express. See, in any field, when you come across a great person, they command a certain attention. They command a certain attention. Suppose APJ Abdul Kalam, the great APJ Abdul Kalam, when he was around, what happens if APJ Abdul Kalam had walked into your school or your office or your house? Immediately people's attention would go to him. I don't know if you've been around such people. I'm sure you have. Not only in the spiritual field. They may not technically be gurus or swamis. But there's a spiritual lust. Anybody who is aligned to these qualities in any field of life, who has these spiritual qualities, they are attractive. They are attractive. They are inspirational. We have the fortune of being around a guru, a living guru. I have had the fortune of being around 2 gurus. I don't know how fortunate I am. So there is a energy that you cannot explain. See, as a student, we're always told, follow the teaching, not the master. Okay. Follow the teaching, not the master. So it's important we don't get carried away by this. But at the same time, it's important to appreciate. It's important to appreciate the great energy, the beautiful energy that they carry. And one way in which you can identify, a person on the spiritual path is by how positive they make you feel. If a person makes you feel positive, it's a very important indicator that they are on the spiritual path. If a person makes you feel negative, if a person has a tendency to bring you down, deplete your energy, then on the contrary, they're probably not on the spiritual journey. So spiritual luster, tejaha, kshama, forgiveness. Forgiveness is, again, we've discussed it in the past quite exhaustively. For those of us who weren't there in that discussion, We'll discuss it once again, because they were quality. If you remember, they were a quality of a jnani as well. When we discussed the qualities of a jnani, we covered this. Amanitvam, adambitvam. No. For the bhakta, adveshta sarva bhutanam maitra karuna evacha. Shami came even in a bhakta. So even in a jnani and a bhakta, we covered this quality of kshama, but we'll discuss it once again. Forgiveness, a beautiful quality which emanates from maturity. The extent to which you are mature and have the knowledge of life and living, have an insight into the nature of individual behavior. We've been talking exhaustively about gunas. We've been talking about how everybody is a helpless manifestation of gunas. A spiritual person is one who has assessed you top to bottom, who knows exactly what to expect from you. And so when you do the expected, he's not affected by it. Your capacity to see the childishness of people. People perform any action, people do anything offensive, usually because of a helpless nature in themselves. What's driving them to be like that? It's their nature. How long can an adult be angry with a child? At some point, the adult will have to see they are just a child. It's their childishness. Similarly, a spiritual person sees us all as spiritual children. This is not an arrogance. He's not arrogant about it. He has an insight about it. He has an awareness about it. He has an awareness about it. People are petty. Someone who is excessively concerned about their material or physical possessions. Someone who is excessively attached, they'll end up doing things in the influence of that. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. I was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. I was on the receiving end. That's what a spiritual person thinks. So forgiveness stems from that ability to appreciate everybody is a victim of their own nature. Now, please, every time I explain forgiveness, I'll give this example. You can see a snake and forgive a snake for being a snake, right? You will see a snake. Suppose a snake has bitten you. You can forgive the snake. You won't be angry with the snake. Why? Because the snake is a snake. It's his nature to bite. To some extent, it's your stupidity to go near the snake. But just because you've forgiven the snake doesn't mean you'll go and, cuddle with the snake. Doesn't mean you'll bring the snake into your house. To understand a snake and forgive it for being a snake doesn't mean you'll befriend the snake. You might, in fact, if you're smart, you'll keep it at a distance. You'll say, listen, you're a snake. Stay at a distance. I forgive you. So what I'm saying is, people think forgiveness means reconciliation. People think, okay, if I forgive you means I have to become your best friend. No. Forgiveness has nothing to do with that. You can forgive a snake and keep it as far away from you as possible. You can forgive a snake and stay away from it. Similarly, you can forgive people, but completely disassociate yourself from them. So what I'm saying is, these are not, these are exclusive things. People think forgiveness means you have to become affectionate to them. No, that doesn't mean that. Forgiveness is simply letting go of that feeling. How can this happen to me? I have been wronged. That feeling, letting go of that. When you let go of that, and how do you let go of that? By understanding human nature. By understanding everybody is a victim of their nature. Everybody is helplessly doing what they are designed to do. If I can help them, I'll help them. But let me not add any more complications to my life. If I have to stay away from them, I'll stay away from them. But letting go of that feeling that I have been wronged, मेरे साथ गलत हुआ है, when that feeling gets erased, that's when you know you have forgiven. Dhriti, steadfastness, the next quality of a daiva. Steadfastness, someone who is consistent on their path. Consistency of purpose is an essential quality, because no spiritual progress is made overnight. No spiritual progress is made overnight. This is a lifetime commitment. Dear friends, this is a lifetime commitment. If you think 10 days of gems of Bhagavad Gita or 6 months of gems of Bhagavad Gita will, and you'll be set, then you are mistaken. I say this both. I've been studying this for what now? 12 years now. 12 years. I've been studying this for 12 years now. Has there been no effect? Of course, there has been good impact. Of course, there has been good impact. But have I reached the end of this journey? No. No. So, you will require consistency of purpose. Consistency doesn't have to do with the length of time. It has to do with how much you can make this part of every aspect of your life. If you do it consistently for 1 hour in a week, that is also not consistency. First of all, bring it to 1 hour in a week, but you have to make it more a part of your life. As we keep saying, this is not a part-time pastime. This is not a part-time pastime. So steadfastness means making this a consistent and constant part of your life. Dhriti. And not getting distracted, not being casual about this. So a very important quality on the spiritual journey is dhriti. Shaucham, purity. A person on the spiritual path. What does it mean to be on the spiritual path? What does it mean to be spiritual? Not chanting these verses and attending these classes. Not wearing these malas and all these things. All these things are not spiritual per se. What does it mean to be spiritual? To be on the spiritual path means to be on a path of self-cleansing. To be on the spiritual path means to be on a path of self-cleansing, on a path of self-correction. And to correct yourself, to cleanse yourself, first you have to be aware of the dirt. If you're not even aware of dirt, how will you clean it? Ask any college student when you enter their room. किसी कॉलेज स्टूडेंट के कमरे में घुसो एंड सारे चीज बिखरे पड़े हुए हैं, आप आकर के देखोगे, अरे अपना रूम साफ कर लो, clean your room. And the student will say, I just cleaned it yesterday, it's so clean. For a college student, the messy room will appear clean. That's his standard of cleanliness. That's his awareness of dirt. That's his awareness of disorder. So someone who is, there's a term in psychology called OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. I will not call it a disorder. On the spiritual path, someone is obsessive and compulsive to ensure cleanliness. So cleanliness arises from your ability to identify dirt, your ability to identify what is unclean. And this is not only dirt outside you, more importantly, it is dirt inside you. Your ability to see your own thoughts and reflect and contemplate upon them. Your ability to see. Most people are not even willing to acknowledge. Most people are not even willing to acknowledge that they are feeling negative emotions. The very fact that you have identified in yourself certain negative qualities, that itself is half the battle won. That is half the, you've identified the dirt and making every effort to remove it, dismiss it. Whatever is not helpful for you on the spiritual path, whatever is unclean, whatever is negative, dismissing that. That consistent practice. So spiritual person is one who maintains that cleanliness, that shaucham, that purity. It reminds me of a beautiful, beautiful verse by Kabir. Kabir Das ji कहते हैं, कबीरा मन निर्मल भयो, कबीरा मन निर्मल भयो जैसे गंगा नीर, कबीरा मन निर्मल भयो जैसे गंगा नीर, पीछे पीछे हरि फिरे, कहत कबीर कबीर. O Kabira, O spiritual enthusiast, O student, don't worry about running after God. We're all chasing God. We're all running after God. Don't worry about running after God. Work on your own mind. Turn your own mind as clean and pure as the beautiful Ganga. Man nirmal bhayo jaise Ganga neer. Turn your own mind as beautiful as the river Ganga. And what will happen? What will happen when you do that? Once you do that, once you work on your own shaucham and on your own purity, पीछे पीछे हरि फिरे कहत कबीर कबीर. Hari himself, the Lord himself, Bhagwan himself will come after you. Arey Kabira, कहत कबीर कबीर. He'll call you, he'll want you there. He'll chase you, he'll want to be around you. Right now you want to be around God. Right now you want to chase God. How do you chase? How do you get God to you? How do you get God? How do you get to God? He's saying, don't have to worry about studying all the scriptures and doing all the puja part, this, that. Most important aspect of the spiritual path. Not any of these other things. Clean your mind. Clean your mind of all negative thoughts, of all selfishness, of all attachment, of all egoism. Man nirmal bhayo, like the beautiful Ganga. If you get a chance before the monsoon, go and see the beautiful Ganga. The waters will be blue, pristine. After the monsoon, there'll be a lot of silt carried, so it will turn brown. That is also beautiful. But before June, before monsoon comes, it's incredible. It's like it's like colorless water, pure water. So turn your mind as pure as River Ganga, and the Lord will come chasing after you. He'll want to be around you. So purity is the path to the Lord. Purity is the path to the Lord. Once you take responsibility for your own cleanliness, for your own inner cleanliness, you are undoubtedly going to be on the right path. Absence of malice, adroha, shatruta ka abhav. Someone who is on the spiritual path has that identification. He's able to see, or he is training himself to see the self in one and all, in a sinner or a saint, in a thief or a virtuous person. Remember that example, that story of Les Miserables. वो जो कहानी है ले मिजराबल, मैंने बताई थी एक बार, कई बार बताया है, शायद आपने और भी सुना होगा. और इनफैक्ट इफ you've read the book, the great novel Les Miserables, you'll be familiar with the story of the priest, जिसके घर से चोर ने चोरी की थी. बीच रात चोर सहायता के लिए आया था, डिनर खाने के लिए आया था, वो भूखा था। प्रीस्ट ने उसे घर के अंदर बुलाया, उसे खाना खिलाया। ही लेट हिम स्टे ओवरनाइट। एंड बीच रात में, चोर बीइंग अ चोर, of course there's a longer story to that, but the thief being a thief, out of his own compulsion, he saw the silver plates, चांदी के प्लेट उसने देख लिए। and उसे मालूम था चांदी का क्या भाव है। कितना मिलेगा उसे चांदी के प्लेट बेचने से। And बीच रात में, in the middle of the night, he stole the silver plates and he ran. So the police caught him and brought him back. And then the priest did something even the thief was surprised by. The thief thought, okay, yeah, I've got caught again, time to go back to jail. So he was dejected. But the priest did something remarkable. The priest, when the police came, pretended, why have you caught him? क्यों पकड़ के लाए उसे? मैंने तो उसको दिए ये silver plates. I have given him these silver plates. Why have you caught him? And the police were so sorry that they have caught the wrong guy for the wrong reason. And they let him go. They left. And the thief is shocked. The thief cannot believe what is happening. The person I have stolen from, he is only telling the police. He's not done anything. He is shocked. He's never seen such a person. And the priest looks at the thief after the police have gone, and he gives him one more silver item. He gives him a silver candlestick stand. And he says, life is to give. Life is to give. The thief could not imagine, could not believe what is happening. That one act completely transformed the thief. And that's the rest of the story in Les Miserables. What are we discussing? We're discussing absence of malice, absence of shatruta, absence of hate. The priest had absence of malice. Even after being stolen from, he was able to identify with the thief. And not only identify, even reform the thief through his greatness. That's his greatness. That's why he's a priest. Someone does anything wrong to us, what is the hate and anger it develops in us? So a lot of the hate, the malice, is generally directed towards those who we feel have taken from us, or those who we feel have more than us. Again, a spiritual person is one who is able to see the self in one and all, who's able to understand everybody is a victim of their nature. It's all these pieces of knowledge compounded together, which gives in him a rise of this beautiful feeling. There is no hatred, there is no malice, no preferential attachment. And the last quality, which we are discussing out here, absence of much pride. Atimanita. So no pride. Your pride, your individuality, your ego is the foundation on which you build your pride. Your pride is the edifice. The whole purpose of the spiritual journey is to demolish this edifice, is to raise the foundation of ignorance. The whole purpose of the spiritual path is to remove your ego and merge back with the Lord. So a spiritual person completely demolishes this edifice of pride. He understands the hollowness of it. He understands the hollowness of it. He doesn't give any importance to this thought of pride, to the sense of whenever you achieve something, whenever you do something, you develop this pride. You're building on that ego. It's very important. If you're on the spiritual journey, you keep dismissing it. Keep dismissing it. In fact, when you achieve, when you succeed, when you actually progress, people will actually add to it. People will build this pride for you. You have to, on the journey, you have to keep dismissing it. Not because it will, if you fall victim to it, it's like giving up a iron cage for a gold cage. You're giving up an iron cage for a gold cage. Your pride is simply a gold cage. You're also going to be caged by your pride. You're going to remain in your ego. You're going to remain on this ignorance, this individuality. So a spiritual person is constantly aware that not to fall victim to his own pride. And the more he progresses, the more he succeeds, the more chances are that the pride will only increase. I mean, people will give him that sense of importance and that sense of, imagine people worship gurus. Imagine if a guru starts becoming proud and develops an ego about it. He has people worshipping him. It's a grave, grave situation. So, on the spiritual path, whether you are in the beginning or you have progressed, it's very important to keep dismissing this pride, all qualities of a person on the spiritual journey. So, these are the qualities, oh Arjuna, of a spiritually evolved person. Tomorrow, when we meet, we will discuss the qualities of an asura, someone who is contrary to a deva, an asura, a demonic person. So, with that thought, we'll conclude today's class and we'll see you tomorrow at 7 a.m. to conclude our season. And hopefully, with the concluded season, we'll conclude the qualities of a demon. Hari Om Tat Sat. See you tomorrow. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.